traveling round the Mohawk Valley.
It's time for the Cooper Group's road trip, and it's an American revolution. Seaweaver Chevrolet sets us up with a new 2008 Chevy Equinox. This crossover offers the best of both worlds, the space and clearance of an SUV and the handling and economy of a car, with an EPA of 24 highway. And that's good because we're doing a lot of traveling along scenic Route 20. This historic highway is a fun destination in itself. The views are amazing, and you never know what you'll discover along the way. One rule, never be in too much of a hurry that you can't stop to enjoy the sights and the tastes.
Traveling along Route 20 just outside of Bridgewater today, we found another roadside stand. This one is a little bit unique, I would have to say, because you can get better quality berries. You can also get firewood, worms, and an apology. Because look at the sign here. The pea shells were slightly damaged in last week's hailstorm, but the peas inside are still delicious. Try a pod from the sample dish and see. You can go into the sample dish here, try one of the peas, or two or three, and see if they're telling the truth. They're telling the truth. They're fantastic. It's also an honor system. You put your money in this little tin can there. Go on your way down Route 20.
We follow the first rule of Route 20, which is to stop at the different attractions. This curious gallery has caught our eye a few times in the past, and today we stopped to peek inside. What a surprise! Artwork by the hundreds, by local artists, many whom we've featured on the show. Owner and artist Jorge Gil has cleverly utilized every inch of space.
Just 3 miles west of Richfield Springs is Gil Gallery. I've been driving by here for years, and I have to admit I feel a bit guilty because I've always wanted to stop in. Today we did stop in, and believe me, it was worth it, because the artwork in here is something that you're not going to find every place. And if you're driving leisurely along Route 20, which is what you should do with Route 20, make the time to stop here and find out for yourself.
We continue along Route 20 and reach the beautiful downtown Richfield Springs. If you want to find out what's happening in town, pick up the latest copy of the Richfield Springs Mercury.
The Richfield Springs Mercury is a good old-fashioned hometown newspaper that had its first publication way back in the late 1800s. Fortunately for all of us here in the community, this newspaper was resurrected a few years ago by J. Bernhardt. Now his son is the associate publisher and is running the business. Thank you.
Thank you very much for stopping by.
One of our very first episodes back in the summer of 2005 included a stop at the Petrified Creatures Museum of Natural History. This 70-year-old tourist attraction is the epitome of roadside America. But it's not just fun and souvenirs. Over 40 different kinds of Devonian fossils were discovered here in 1932 by a state engineer when Route 20 was being constructed. If you have a budding paleontologist in your family, you can dig for your own 300-million-year-old souvenir. Stroll down the path to see fun, colorful dinosaur sculptures and learn about flora and fauna that the Devonian Sea left behind.
This is a recording of the words of Malcolm Boyce, graduate geologist and paleontologist of the Universities of Colgate and Indiana.
A trip along Route 20 is not complete without a stop here. We came here 3 years ago, so we thought we'd come back to visit again, and we found out that the petrified creatures are even more petrified than they were 3 years ago, and that if you want to go digging for fossils, there are still plenty of them here to dig for, so come on down and dig.
The Petrified Creatures Museum is open 7 days a week throughout the summer. A familiar landmark on Route 20 for people heading to Cooperstown or the Opera is Kelly's Deli, where customers fill up their gas tanks and their picnic baskets.
You can actually find a deli out in the country here in the corner of Route 80 and Route 20. It's Kelly's Deli, and it's been here for some 25 years. if you're on your way to a picnic, you can stop in here and get yourself a hoagie or a grinder or a torpedo or a sub. And I didn't realize until just today that those are all words for the same thing. In other words, you get yourself a sub.
We head further east along Route 20 to East Springfield and Casey's Corner Restaurant. We stop here for a break and a bite to eat and discover that we're not the only ones.
No work in the run, the boys will be in London soon. No more than
Here in East Springfield, the gathering place is Casey's Restaurant, and every Wednesday the production crew from the Glimmerglass Opera comes here to eat, to have my favorite, chicken and biscuits. And true? Is it good?
Yeah.
You have to be more sincere than that. Do you like the chicken and biscuits here?
Yes, I like the chicken biscuits.
And you're from where?
I'm from Syracuse, New York.
Syracuse. Oh, what's the farthest person from distance-wise?
I'm from Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. Wow.
North of Vancouver, BC.
Wow. Vancouver. You're the production crew for Glimmerglass, right? And this table is made up of people who do what?
Lighting and electrics.
Your lighting and electrics. Without you, nobody looks good without the lighting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
carpenter here.
Carpenters. And at this table we have props. Wow.
Actually, the entire props crew.
The entire props crew.
had the sack, so away to work.
If you're hungry today, stop at Casey's Restaurant. You can have for breakfast their famous all-you-can-eat Sunday buffet for only $7.95 from 8 o'clock until 11. Then there's a dinner buffet as well for only $11.95 from 12 until 6. You should see what's on here. Meatloaf, chicken, turkey, roast beef, barbecue beef ribs, lasagna, goulash, macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, etc., etc., etc. But when you're finished, be sure to have what I had. Have their cherry pie, because then you can say that you had a piece of cherry pie in Cherry Valley.
If you go down to the railroad track.